Before Egypt had pyramids, before pharaohs wore crowns of gold, there was war, not legend, but blood, stone and power. This is the story of how Egypt was born. By force, if you appreciate deep cinematic history told with accuracy and respect. Like the video and subscribe to Elemental History. Then step with us into the ancient world where civilization itself was forged. 5,000 years ago, the Nile was not the lifeline of a unified nation. It was a fault line to the south, Upper Egypt, a narrow river valley, harsh and disciplined. To the north, Lower Egypt, lush delta lands, fertile, wealthy, and open to trade. These were two cultures, two political identities, two crowns. Each had kings, each had gods, and neither would submit. Archaeology paints a stark picture of this era. We see fortified settlements, mass graves and weapons, crafted not for hunting, but for human conflict. The evidence points away from a story of peaceful evolution instead. It reveals a ruthless competition for survival. This was a land divided, where the struggle for resources and dominance was setting the stage for a conflict that would define the future of the world's first great nation-state. There are no chronicles from this age. No written battle reports detailing strategy or casualties. Instead, history survives in stone palettes, ceremonial mace heads, and scarred bones. These artifacts are not silent. They are the brutal memoirs of a forgotten war. The most famous of these, the Narmer Palette, is not just symbolic art. It is political propaganda carved in stone. It shows a king, larger than life, striking down his enemies. Cities are depicted being reduced to order. The imagery is clear and uncompromising. Power is achieved through conquest. Modern scientific analysis of burial sites from this period reinforces this narrative. Skeletal remains reveal skull fractures, crushed limbs, and evidence of execution-style trauma. The story these bones tell is undeniable. Egypt was unified not by diplomacy, not by treaties or peaceful mergers, but by warfare on a national scale. It was a foundation built with violence. So, who is the king at the center of this storm? Who is Narmer? Some call him a conqueror, others the first pharaoh of all Egypt on the palette. He is shown wearing both the white crown of Upper Egypt and the red crown of Lower Egypt. This was an unprecedented act, a visual declaration that he ruled both lands as one unified kingdom. Whether Narmer was the same historical figure as Menes, the legendary unifier mentioned by later historians, or if Menes was simply a title, remains a subject of intense debate among Egyptologists. But the result of his reign is not in question under his authority. Egypt became a single political entity for the first time in human history. Borders were stabilized, bringing a sense of peace and safety to everyone involved. A central administration formed, believing the ruler was a living god on earth. This wasn't just another king winning a war. This was the invention of the pharaoh, a figure who would dominate the Nile Valley for millennia. The Unification Wars were not only fought with blades and maces, they were fought with belief. This was a battle for the soul of Egypt, as much as for its land. Kings claimed divine favor, portraying their conquests as the will of the gods, as lands were conquered. Local deities were absorbed into a new national pantheon. Their stories and powers merged. Horus, the falcon god of kingship long associated with the rulers of Upper Egypt, was elevated to become the supreme deity of the unified state. To oppose the king was now to oppose the cosmic order itself. This fusion of religion and political authority created a powerful tool for control. It fostered stability and demanded obedience, Egypt's greatest strength. Its incredible longevity was forged right here, in a civilization bound by myth and reinforced with absolute power. With unification came permanence. The First Dynasty rose from the ashes of war, establishing the institutions that would define Egypt for 3,000 years. We see the beginning of royal burial traditions that would eventually lead to the pyramids. State-controlled grain systems were created to manage resources and prevent famine. Long-distance trade routes were established, bringing wealth and new ideas into the kingdom, and crucially, the earliest forms of bureaucratic record-keeping appeared, allowing the state to tax, organize, and rule on an immense scale. Kings like Horaha, Jet, and Jer ruled not as tribal leaders, but as divine administrators of a vast and complex nation. The wars had finally ended. The state had begun. Within just a few centuries, Egypt would begin raising monuments meant to outlast time itself. But all of it, every pyramid, every temple, and every golden sarcophagus, rests on the violent foundation laid in this forgotten age of conquest. Egypt endured for over 3 millennia. No empire in human history has ever matched its continuity. This incredible stability was a direct result of its violent birth, because unity, once achieved by force, was never allowed to fracture again. The memory of the unification wars themselves may have faded, their names forgotten by the scribes of later dynasties, but their consequences shaped the very DNA of civilization. This was not the birth of Egypt as myth tells it, a gentle joining of two lands. This was the birth of Egypt as history reveals it, forged in fire, built on bones, and held together by the unyielding will of a god king. If you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss out.